creators. What happens if love becomes your only desire? Not money or success, just love. Tonight, you're going to meet a young man named Marquise. Marquise has a plan. He wants to build a weather platform, achieve financial independence, create the life he always dreamed. Marquise thinks he knows already the reason he was born. But tonight, he's about to find out that he hasn't even been close. What if the life that you're chasing is actually being driven by a fear you haven't noticed? Fear of not having enough, fear of falling behind, fear of not becoming someone who matters. And what if, for just 7 minutes tonight, you set all of that down? Tonight, Marquise is not here just to tell his story. Marquise is here as your mirror. Because many of us have goals we've never questioned. Not about whether they're possible, but about whether our goals are even coming from love itself. Keep it locked. Because tonight, we explore what happens when love becomes your only desire. And without further ado, if you're ready to live free beyond fear, welcome here. I'm Dr. Shawn, and I believe you do not need years to heal. You just need one real breakthrough. That's why I invented Transcendent Psychology, and I test it in the real world, on real people, on my game show, Countdown to Breakthrough, the only game show that heals your soul. Right now, you're on the Breakthrough Live, where we break down the science of healing so that you get your own breakthrough. Live. On today's show, we are speaking with a young man in the field named Marquise. Marquise, of course, is going to set up our conversation tonight inside of our Conscious Transformation Laboratory. As we go in tonight, we are working with, yes, questions about life's purpose, questions about life's work, but most importantly, we are looking to get at what happens when love becomes the only desire. Let's get to Marquise in the field. And when we're done, our exploration begins. Here we go.
I have 7 minutes in order to show you the power of your own mind. If I don't get it done in 7 minutes, I pay you cash just for taking your time today. Are you up to play?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, all right, excellent. Where do we need to be, by the way? He's talking on the phone. I'm imagining just right here?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Excellent.
Let's face that way.
I see.
I'll shoot this way.
Okay. Excellent.
Actually, I'm going to switch my mind up. I'm going to shoot that way.
Okay, so you want us here?
Yeah.
Okay. So you what's your name?
Marquise.
Marquise, I'm Shawn.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm just going to set this right over here. And boom, okay. So I'm here with Marquise, episode of Countdown to Breakthrough, and Marquise, on a scale of 1 to 10, in order for this game to work, I need to know, 10 being the absolute knowingness, complete, I understand it, 1 being, I don't know. How well would you say you know your life's work, what you were put on earth to do?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say a 7.
You say a 7?
A 7.
Okay, so we have a 7 here. All right, so we're about to change that. I have 5 questions for you, okay? That's going to help us to elucidate and find out a little bit more about what this life's work is. Okay, and so for us to begin, I want you to hold your hands out just like this in front of your heart. Yes, beautiful. Now, imagine that you have a white ball of light circling inside in the space between your hands. Let me know when you get it.
Okay.
Excellent. Now, fill that white ball with love. Just like air going into a balloon, see love move from your heart and fill the white ball of light. Let me know when you have it.
Have it.
Excellent. Now, take that entire ball and let it absorb into your heart and feel your heart resonating with all of that love, with all that love energy.
Okay.
Let me know when you have it.
Have it.
Excellent. As I ask you these questions, I want you to answer not from your own intellect, but from that white light of love. I want you to let it answer these questions. Question number 1 is, what would you love to create if you could create anything in the world?
What would I love to create? A digital platform for weather.
Ooh, a digital platform for weather.
Yes.
That come from the white light, or is that coming from the head? Let the white light answer. One more time, what would you love to create? Let the light answer. Yes.
Financial independence.
Okay. Excellent. Financial independence, and the way that you would do that, the what of that is it the weather platform or is it something different?
It is something different.
It is something different.
It is something different.
Well, we'd like to know that. Beautiful. We don't want to go get venture capitalists to find out about something we don't want. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to do it against something we do. Okay, excellent. So now, financial independence, we understand. But what would get you there? What would you love to see get you there? It doesn't even matter what it is.
What
If
I would
everything were
love to-
perfect, what would get you to that financial independence? It could be being a movie star. It could be being anything. What would do it? Let the light speak.
What would I love?
Let the light speak. Where's it pointing?
I would definitely say, ooh,
Yes.
my head is still speaking, so I'm trying to let the light speak for me.
Let the light speak.
You said, what would I love?
Yes. You can create anything. What would you love to make?
I would definitely say make homes.
Ooh, okay. So homes, very different than a weather platform, even though that would make you money. But the homes allow you to infuse love and actually win. And so let me ask you this. Where would you love to make these homes?
Definitely throughout the country, low-income neighborhoods for sure.
Low-income neighborhoods throughout the country, starting perhaps in the South or?
Definitely in the South, my hometown, Miami.
Miami, Florida? Miami, Florida?
Miami, Florida.
All right. Okay, excellent. Okay, how would you love to see these homes get created?
How?
Yes. You don't need to know all the plans. I'm just saying, if everything were perfect, how would these homes formulate?
That would definitely be just kind of gathering with a great minds. For sure, definitely people that's been in the real estate industry.
Yes.
Those that's been in the financial industry.
Excellent.
To kind of create a way to kind of get low-income families to have sustainable, longevity homes without having to be sacrificed with financial
Burdens.
burden, depleting with their wealth. I'm just trying to find a way to kind of have everybody be able to be homeowners without having to give up or sacrifice so much, but they don't have nothing left to give.
Yes. Okay, so we have the what, we have the where, we have the when. I'm just going to say it's now. We need the who. Who would you love to see building this with?
Names?
You don't have to do that, but
Okay.
you can do that if you like.
You said who?
But just who. Are they friends? Are they family? Are they people who are in the industry?
They're very close friends and peers of mine who's, if not in the industry now, is definitely in that. We'll get there very soon for sure.
You want to shout them out? You don't have to. You don't have to.
I can give 2 people for sure.
Okay, yeah, give them.
Justice King, And my good friend Jamon, for sure.
Justice and Jamar?
Jamon.
Jamon.
Yes.
We're looking at you. Excellent. Okay. So we have the who, but we just need the why, the final question. Why would you love to do this?
For sure, definitely just, seeing my mom and father work so hard through their lives, never been able to own a home, and we've been trying to get to that point in our lives. And so looking back, I still have not been able to give my father a home. So that's kind of looking back. Coming from his wealth and finances, I kind of want to create that just for him. That'd be a goal of mine for him, for sure. So that's what is speaking to me from the love.
Aha, okay. So that love of family starts connecting,
yes.
And he starts going back to this understanding of family and of parenting and of sacrifices that have been made. But more than that, you know that this is a unique way that you can contribute.
Yes.
Something in you is saying that, yes, this is the way. It doesn't matter if you don't know how just yet. The fact that the love is there for it is what guides you through. Let me ask you, was something like this helpful, or were you wanting to stay thinking about the digital weather platform? You know what I'm saying? Like,
the digital weather platforms ought to been I'm a huge fan of weather, so that's why. But I would definitely say this kind of helped. I never really thought about it this deep into it before, so I definitely give you the appreciation of that. So thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my question is, can you come back to these questions? Anytime the world says, no, it's this new gadget over here. No, what's trucking is really hot right now. Or can you come back to these 5 questions of what is it that I love? When would I love it? Where would I love it? Why would I love it? Who would I love to do it with? Right? And ground yourself back into this inner light so that it can be your compass. Nobody else in the world can compose this love for you. It's already with you. So allowing it, the voice of God, to speak through it is more profound than anything I could give you.
Okay.
And so can you come back to these 5 questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely can.
Dude, thank you so much for just taking the time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
I definitely thought about it in a different mindset, so thank you so much.
Absolutely.
That means a lot.
Yeah, man. And if I could just get your email, what I want to do is send this to you when it comes out.
Okay,
so
yeah,
we
great.
just, shout out the homies. Okay, yeah. Beautiful. Man, thank you so much, Marquise, man.
I appreciate
Have
y'all.
a blessed
Thank you
day.
for your time. Thank y'all so much, man. Y'all have a great one as well.
You too.
You know what you're doing, too. That means
Yes,
a lot
sir.
to me, so I'll take that all right, for sure.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
You too. Wow. It's gorgeous, man. Every single person, bro. This is a technique and an exercise I wasn't even sure of. I'm still kind of not sure about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because something like this, generally speaking, you need to have. It's helpful if I can just be with a person for longer, but apparently not. Apparently not. The question is, I don't know how truthful these answers are. It doesn't matter. The point is to impress upon people the notion that when we are listening to this love space, this heart space, whatever our preconceived notions about what we do or should be doing, they drop away, and only the light remains. And so it doesn't matter if he answered correctly. That's for love to decide. Ours was just to point him in the right direction.
Woo! All right, Marquise. Thank you so much for coming on the show, folks. I remember that that feeling of being out in the field, and that episode, that joint that we just saw with Marquise, that never made the final cut and countdown to breakthrough. That is not an episode. So I've got like a whole bunch of people that just we never could use that footage. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like to be able to bring it out tonight. This is like the kind of the first time I've ever shown it to anyone. And like, it's so important. What I'm looking to do with Marquise, I wish somebody would have did with me. It could have saved me probably 10 years. Oh, I'm gonna get into that. By the way, if you ever want to see Countdown to Breakthrough, it is on the channel. Just go ahead and Dr. Shawn Smith, YouTube. You'll see it, series 1, or season 1 rather. But as I'm sitting here talking with Marquise, you could see that shift. You could see that change. You could see that difference between him immediately saying, "Oh, it's got to be the weather platform." Maybe he was inspired by Byron Allen becoming a billionaire, if by buying the Weather Channel, whatever the case is. A lot of times, what we want and what we love are two totally different things. And so it's very important to keep that in mind, that this is not just about doing what we want. It's about trading all that we want for what we love. Love comes from, when I say love, I'm talking about universal oneness. I'm not talking about an emotion. When I'm saying love, I'm talking about the supreme nature of reality itself. And so we're allowing that fundamental fabric to speak through us, to do what we were uniquely born to do. And as we're talking with Marquise, you could see him go from weather platform to, wait a minute, actually, there's something I'd rather choose to do for others based off of my own life experience, based off the path that I had to walk in order to stand here before you today. But he wouldn't have gotten there had he not turned to that light within. You dig what I'm saying? And so, dude, dude, oh, I got a story for you today. But before I get into all of that, don't think I don't see you in the room. Twin, what's happening? Twin saying good evening, Dr. Shawn. Other twin, what's happening? He's saying good evening. Oh, good evening to wonderful Dr. Shawn. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being you, twin. Okay, my love Felicity is in the room. Welcome in, Felicity. Now, I don't think Felicity, I don't think you even saw this footage for real. Because it didn't make the show, and that could change. I could probably, make an episode around it or whatever. But like, there's just these conversations that we were having that just couldn't, you know what I'm saying, kind of get into the first season. And so I'm grateful that I get to show that tonight, because Marquise revealed a simple process that we often overlook, and we end up going down paths chasing what we thought we wanted, only to find that whether we get the thing or not, the entire process was missing a certain something. Whether we succeed or not, the entire process, we look back and it's like, damn, it was missing something. Somehow I feel like I missed the point. I wish somebody would have told me about this love thing. We talk about God being love, that love is going to, that when God is speaking, God speaks through love. When I say God, I'm not talking about a guy in the sky. I'm talking about the universal fabric of eternity. I'm talking about the supreme nature of reality. I'm talking about the fundamental fabric of existence. You understand? So when that's the case, and we're allowing that love to speak, we're getting something that completely bypasses all of the conditioning we were fed, all of the advertisements we were fed. And as I'm sitting here looking back at this, at Marquise, this was like October 2024, basically. I was out there. And like, so the book on love was not written yet. And the book, like, this joint was not written yet. And so what I was basically taking him through as I'm sitting here looking back at it was something called the Love Hexagon. Do I have it? Do I have it in here? This book is actually, it's almost out. It's just love is not telling me it's time yet, so I'm not about to publish it. But it's done. It's done. Um, but this wasn't written yet. If you can see that. We talk about the love hexagon. We're talking about doing what you love, why you love it, with who you love it. You know what I'm saying? When you love, where you love, how you love, all of it has to be love. All of it has to be love. All of it has to be aligned. But at that point, I was working with a tool that I didn't quite. It was like, Spirit was giving me this new technology, and I wasn't quite sure how to make it work or how to operate it. And therein, what we just saw with Marquise was the sort of first pass at what happens inside of an individual when they begin to work with this new technology, this new conscious transformation technology. And so the left hexagon is just a simple way to help you understand that it's not about just doing what I love. It's about doing it when, where, how, for the reasons that I love. Of course, love is its own reason. With who, the entire shebang. I need the whole thing. It's got to be all of it. It's got to be all of it. There's no half stepping with this. And so, why is this so important? Why am I always on one when it comes to love? It's because it's the easiest way for me to help you understand what the voice of God sounds like. It's because love is the easiest way for me to tell you what the voice of God sounds like so that you can hear it in your own experience, right? Love is a total body experience. So you're listening with your entire being. Indeed, if I only had 60 seconds to tell the world everything about what I'm about and all my content, everything that disappears, all the stuff, all the videos get wiped up off the internet. If I had to distill down my central thesis, I would say something like do what you love, when you love it, where you love it, for the reasons that you love, with who you love, and do it how you love. And also, never think that want and love are the same thing, they are different. What you want can be completely different than what you love. So therefore, we must ask what we love from a deeper place. We actually need to listen within. And what I'm saying is that when humans do this, we begin to move in a higher frequency, and we become quite literally in that moment a new species, a new type of hominid. That the daily choosing of love over anything and everything else actually upgrades our DNA to the point where we can see new choices that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to. Okay, so you say, okay, well, why are you always on one? Why are you always on one? Dude, this past week, right? I'm in Patreon and I started a Patreon back in 2016, October 2016. My very first, I got to tell you about one of my biggest failures. You said I got to tell you a lot of, I got to tell you another one. I got to tell you about one of the biggest ones, one of the biggest ones. One of the biggest ones was in October 2016, I started a business online platform that was talking about health, wealth, and finance for the culture. And it was about making sure that people had this sort of holistic way of approaching health. And it was very ambitious. It was a super ambitious project. And I didn't, like, I really wanted it to work. Like I was like praying, you know what I'm saying? I was like fingers crossed and all that. Like I was, you know what I'm saying? I was trying to do anything and everything, all the things in order to convince myself on a daily basis that this would work. I started putting together a Facebook page and I got to like 15,000 followers. This is 2016, 15,000, Facebook followers in like, 90 days. And it was actually enough for the FBI to start sending me emails, So that was interesting. They put me on a watch list for that. But anyway, the point is that not that I was saying anything crazy. It was just that I was, it was a platform that was for a specific population. It was for the culture, right? So, long story short, I really wanted this project to work. Oh, I really wanted this project to work, and so I was back. 2016, and I was just reading on Patreon. I had started a Patreon account, and I was just reading my sort of about page. Like, you know, when people come to your Patreon, it's like, okay, what's this page about? I was reading what I wrote, and it sounded so energetic. It sounded like so hopeful. It sounded like I just want to change the world because I think people deserve to live a wonderful life. And you know what I'm saying? It was like it made me lean forward. It was like, oh, this is I can sense the passion in this other version of myself, this past version of myself in 2016. And so I'm sitting here looking at the Patreon page, and I'm like, and I go through and I look at all the people who had donated over the years or whatever, and there was like $111 in there. I was like, there was a part of me that was so excited to see $100. I was like, you mean somebody paid $100 in order to get this health information? You know what I'm saying? Like it was like one of those things. Like, you know, when $100 feels better than 10,000 or 20,000, you know what I'm saying? Like because of what people were paying for, you dig? So I'm sitting here looking, and I'm kind of like going back through the names of all the people who were donors and all this. You know, people were donating about $1 a month at that time, you know. And so I was like, why did this not work for real? And on a sheet of paper, when I say why did it not work, what I'm saying is that I really wanted this thing to work because I wanted financial independence, just like Marquise. I wanted that financial independence. I didn't want to be tied to the university system. 10 years ago in 2016, I was a grad student. I was in my PhD. I was in the second, I was in the first year, about to go into the second. And I already saw that academia it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't the experience of a bunch of highly evolved individuals coming together in order to think of powerful solutions to move the world forward. It was really just a bunch of people trying to protect their jobs. You know what I'm saying? It was like I was like, this is the same fear that exists everywhere else exists inside the academy. I don't want anything to do with this. I need to build something. So I was like, oh, I'm about to build something. And so I get to move, and I get to, you know what I'm saying, I'm doing my coursework in the day. Grad school is like you basically are reading one book a day every single day, right? But then you also need to teach your classes. And so I was teaching my, 50 students or whatever the case is. So I would be teaching, prepping my courses, prepping for my courses, and then writing my papers and doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's like morning, and then evening I was at it doing this other kind of research for the culture, right? And so, oh man, so I'm sitting here looking back at this Patreon page. What I really wanted was just that independence. I didn't want to be like trapped again in that system, because before I even got to grad school, I was in Chicago and was just getting, there were no jobs, you know what I'm saying? They were almost like they were just chronically unemployed, all bad, or chronically underemployed, you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I don't want to go back to that. I want to be free. That's what I was really after. I just wanted to be free. I was still in that stage where I thought money could save me. So I was like, I just want to be free. If I get enough money, then I'll be able to buy my time back. I'll be able to live the life that I want to live. I'll be able to help the people that I want to help. I'm great at research. If I can just, I'll go find the obscure journals that nobody's reading, and I'll bring out the best insights, and then we can test them with people, and they can, you know what I'm saying? People can improve their diets, improve their finances, improve their mental health, their meditations, everything. That's what I was on. And so building this platform, I started running into all kinds of issues. One is I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to sell intentionally, and I didn't know how to market. Didn't know what I was doing. I thought it was enough to, you know what I'm saying? If you build it, they will come. And that was not the case. And so this was like my first time kind of getting to understand all of these little things, understanding what Facebook ads were, In those days, it was completely different than it is today. In those days, you used to be able to target people. Today, Facebook says, no, 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 we'll handle the targeting. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to worry about who your ad is going to. We'll figure that part out. You know what I'm saying? And so it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? But like, I was like, man, I got 15,000 followers. How come nobody's buying my $4 product? I didn't know how to like convert attention. I didn't know. I didn't know. I was a scholar. That was the last thing that we were talking about. We talking about, political science and history and sociology and anthropology. We're talking about all this other stuff. We are not talking about building marketing funnels, right? So we were not talking about emails. We were not talking about any of this stuff. So anyway, I'm in Patreon this past week, and I'm just kind of looking back at what was, and I'm asking myself the question, why did this fail? I take out a sheet of paper and I want to show it to you. I take out a sheet of paper and on two sides, I draw a line down the middle, and on two sides, the left side I write, these were the skills that were missing. And on the right side I write, and these are the character traits that were missing. The skills, you need the skills, also need the character traits. The missing combination of those two is going to lead to failure. And so literally I want to talk about this because it's going to tie into our conversation tonight. Remember, if you're just tuning in, we are talking about what happens if love becomes your only desire. What we saw with Marquise earlier was a change in thought that happened as he attuned to love. And what I'm explaining right now is what started me on this whole journey. What if someone would have came to me when I was Marquise's age and explained to me what I'm about to say tonight? They would have saved me 10 years. They would have saved me so much time. So I wrote, all right, let me see if I can see this. Skills on one, and this is, what I'm saying, front to back. I was just on one, you know what I'm saying? So skills on one side, character traits on the other side, and there's some important pieces here that I want to touch on. Skills, I'll go through this quick. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but like basically I didn't know sales and marketing. I didn't know email segmentation. I didn't know, the level of volume that I needed to, like 15,000 people is cool, but like 1.5 million is better. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a system, but I didn't know that I needed to use it more. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I was like, well, nobody's buying at 15,000. This is crazy. It's over. So the idea was a no focus, no clear value framework, no understanding of Facebook platform changes. I mean, there's so many skills that were just missing. I didn't understand funnels, down sells, upsells, cross sells. I didn't, yeah, I can keep going with this, but the skills deal is just, it just comes down to basically not knowing how to sell and do marketing. But the part that's really interesting is the character traits because the skills got in the way. But I kind of started meandering through a little bit. The skills got in the way, but the thing that I really didn't, the character traits, though, this side. Number one, I did not know that I was an artist. I didn't know I was an artist. What is an artist? If you read a book, I highly recommend it, called The Five Dharma Types. It's called The Five Dharma Types. So important. I'll summarize. Each human being is born with one of five destinies. There are merchants, people whose purpose it is to build businesses, to hire and employ large amounts of people, to take care of families. There are warriors. These are the people who are your military generals, the people who, if they are highly evolved, become kings, become rulers, become people who are leaders. And there's no stigma on that. Like, do you want that person who is the noble warrior. You want them in the leadership position because you know that they're going to lay down their life for everybody else. Okay. So we have the merchant, the warrior. Number three is the educator or the teacher. This is the person who their job is to make sure that the civilization, the society, the tribe understands its history, its past, where it's going, and is moving with intelligence. Number four is the laborer. This is your builder. This is the person who is building your skyscrapers, building your temples, building your pyramids, building your all your things. You know what I'm saying? These are the people whose destiny it is to build community, to build families. They need to be employed, yes, by the merchant, but they are your builders. These are the people, thick hands, right? They're sturdy. Your community builders, but they also are typically people who work with their hands. Okay. But number five is what are called the outsiders. But for me, it's just easier to call these people the artists, the true innovators. These are the people who come into this dimension in order to create something new, in order to empower with a new technology, a new invention. Their job is to empower the merchant, the warrior, the builder, and the teacher, right? Their job is to create the inventions that everybody begins to use. They are the innovators, the ones who create new. And new is different than just putting two parts together. They're the ones who actually bring something forth that would not have come forth had they not been there. You dig what I'm saying? And so this could be new works of art. It can be new systems of government. It could be new religions. It could be new technologies, literally. New inventions, new innovations. That's the artist. That's the work of the artist. And so you fit into one of those. Now the artist also can blend in. So the artist can think that they're a teacher for a long time. The artist can think that they're a merchant for a long time. The artist can think that they're a warrior for a long time. The artist can think that they're a builder for a long time. And as a matter of fact, the artist typically has to taste all four domains in order to become a competent artist. Typically, I'll say always, actually. The artist must taste all four of those. So the artist is going to learn the skills of a merchant. They're going to learn the skills of an educator. They're going to learn the skills of a warrior. They're going to learn the skills of a teacher. They don't need to be masters at it, but they need to know enough in order to actually speak to each one of these human experiences. And likewise, the artist is given shelter from the laborer. They're given funding from the merchant. They're given perspective and education from the teacher. They're given protection by the warrior. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like it's an ecosystem. This is how all societies work. And so it's kind of like found that to be quite helpful. And some societies have a general tone. Some societies are warrior societies. Some societies are more merchant societies where business, transnational capital begins to rule. I'll let you figure out which ones are ruling today. Some societies are build societies, laborer societies. Some societies are innovative societies, and some societies are societies where they value education at the highest level. Think Timbuktu in West Africa, where books were more prized than diamonds. You dig what I'm saying? And so coming back to this, that's a long way of saying this. I gotta take my time tonight. I'm already missing the fights. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take my time tonight. So the idea here is this: I didn't know that I was an artist. I didn't know that I was here to innovate. I just thought that I was here to. I mean, my background wasn't teaching. I thought that I was just here to do the research and bring that forward. So because of that, I didn't understand. It's hard for the artist. In my case, it was hard for me to get into a cadence that's necessary in order to build media. Like it's really difficult for me to do that. Like I'll make something great and then I'll disappear for 3 months. I'll make something great and then I'll disappear for 6 months. I'll make something great and I'll disappear for 4 months. Twin to tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll be like doing it and then you know, not because I'm slacking off, but because that's how much time it takes to recharge for the next offering. You dig what I'm saying? That is not what flies in a marketplace. Not in that way. You cannot you can take a piece of art and sell it for a high price, but I didn't know that. I was selling I was selling a membership. It was like a subscription package directly off my website. And it was like, yeah, this will help you with your finances. This will help you with your meal prep. This will help you with your meditation. It was like a total package for $4 a month. And so as I'm sitting here looking at that, I'm like, wait a minute. Why did I charge $4? Oh, wait, that's right. I didn't believe enough in my own value to be able to hyper deliver on a specific offer, to be able to help somebody in a way that actually moved the needle for them. So people would buy the $4 package, and I would do like these live sessions, and nobody would come. I was like, damn, damn. It was just so interesting. Not only that, I was trying to do all of it on my own. Why? Because I'm an artist. You don't outsource the art. You know what I'm saying? We found out that Van Gogh was out there outsourcing the paintings. We'd be like, bro, then whoever you outsourced it to, that's the artist. You don't outsource. You know what I'm saying? You do all of it, or you know what I'm saying? Like what are we talking about? So I approach business the same way. So I'm sitting here trying to do all the ads by myself, all the writing by myself, all the research by myself, all the, you know what I'm saying? That's just not how the organization works. That's not an organization. That's one dude. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that they call it a company for a reason, because there's company with you. You know what I'm saying? There's other people with you. It's a platoon, so to speak. The word company kind of comes out of the military. It comes out of there's nobody in the military of one. It's a military of many. The word company is kind of like a platoon. You know what I'm saying? It comes out of that organizational sequence. And so I didn't understand. I didn't have any patience because I cared about what I was making so much. When things didn't work out fast or in a big enough way, I thought they failed instead of seeing it as normal. The focus was all over the place. I diluted my message. I was trying to make it about health, wealth, and finance without thinking about the nuance of the actual end user. You dig what I'm saying? Like all these little character traits, not having the patience, not having the focus, not having the self awareness, not having the leadership, not understanding the volume, and not understanding the self worth. I was like, dang, okay, what is behind all of this? What is it possible to develop one skill that would handle, help me address each one of these character traits that were deficient? What could somebody have come to me 10 years ago and told me that would have assisted, that would have helped me keep a higher perspective, that would have helped me put everything that I was doing in a new way of seeing, one that was actually congruent with my own energy rather than working against my own energy? Because at the end of the day, you can figure out Facebook ads, you can figure out email marketing, you can figure out, offers and brand identities and all that stuff. This business, when it failed, they was the thing that got me into sales. Right after I finished the PhD, I immediately went into sales because I was like, I cannot have that kind of failure again. I need to understand what selling is about. And so went into sales and then, did excellent. And it was like, okay, now I understand that, but still something was still not quite right. Something was still not quite right. And that's why we're having this conversation on tonight. Because the thing that I wish somebody would have said to me is the thing that I just said to Marquise tonight. Had somebody come to me and told me that, hey, look, your focus, your volume, the patience, the self-awareness, the self-worth, and your leadership can all be handled with one, by establishing yourself in one mood, in one frequency, in one state. Had somebody told me that my path was to follow love and love alone. Had somebody told me to follow love and love alone, then I wouldn't have been doing, I wouldn't have been trying to bend over backwards in order to figure out things that somebody else already knew. I would have just found the person that needed to, that knows how to do the thing, that already loves doing that thing, and then we work together. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been so impatient because I would have actually enjoyed the process of whatever I was doing. I wouldn't have mind I wouldn't have minded delegating because I know that I'm never delegating the true art, the true I understand what my part is and I understand what part is for somebody else. I would have found ways to amplify the volume if volume was even necessary. And the most important piece is that I would have been coming back time and time again to the question, wait, what is this something that I love doing? Is this a loving decision? I mean, the money is nice and all, but like if it's not love, then I don't need to be on that journey. Because the reality is that I'll burn out before the money comes by a long shot. So rather than try and force myself to something that's not really possible, I'd rather involve myself in the self-awareness to find out, wait, what am I actually loving? What am I actually loving to be about? Let me just go do that. And I find that when I'm doing things that I love, how I love, when I love, where I love, you understand. That's why I asked him all of those questions. I put him in the love hexagon. How I love, with who I love. Okay, now I don't want to do anything else. Do you understand? Once I'm in the love hexagon, now I don't want to do anything else. And so whatever is born out of that is a wonderful thing. But now I don't even need to do anything else. So the question about focus, there's no distraction. I'm only doing the thing. And when there's no distraction, focus happens on its own accord. So I was like, oh, dude, if somebody just would have said, that don't mean that I would have got everything right. It just means that it would have been helpful to understand what the nature of this life is. Because for the warrior, love is going to direct them into warrior activity. For the educator, for the teacher, love is going to direct them into teaching and educator activity. For the builder, love is going to direct them into building something. For the merchant, for the business person, love is going to direct them into organization, into building companies, into building businesses. Great. For the artist, love is going to direct you into creating. And it doesn't always have to be an external thing, but it will be defined by this frequency. If somebody has said that, dude, that changes everything. I also didn't know that it takes 10 years to build a brand. I was trying to hurry up and flip something so I could hurry up and get out of grad school and be on my Mary and already have something kind of cruising and just be cool. I didn't even know I was building a brand. I was just trying to, you know what I'm saying? Who wants to, I didn't, but yeah, it takes, there's no way that you're going to make it. There's no way I was going to make it 10 years doing anything that was ignoring this impulse, that was ignoring the voice of God. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to make it. Never was. If it takes 10 years to do something, it better be love. I don't have that kind of mentality where I can just not have epiphanies for 10 years and just put my head down and just grind toward a petty goal. I don't have that. I don't have that goal. I do not have that. Eventually something's going to stop me and be like, wait, is this right? I don't know. Is this right? And so that's exactly what happened when it came to this first failed business is that the energy just burned out. And then I ended up turning it into different mutations. I was like, okay, I need to focus. So I'll turn it just into a diabetes program. And then I found, built a network of doctors and I built a network of physical fitness people to help people with type 2 diabetes in the culture reverse their diabetes. Then I started working with world renowned physicians. And one, Dr. Furman, Joel Furman, agreed to do a podcast with me. We did a podcast for a year and a half together. Had all kinds of venture fund that, bro. It was like I was connected. I was connected. And still, when it came time to pull the plug and start building that business the way that it needed to get built, I still didn't know that I was an artist. I couldn't get myself up each morning to do that activity, even though it was helping people, even though it was a good. And so many years wasted trying to, I say wasted, but I mean, it's just a part of the journey, but that journey led to one core lesson that if it's not love, it's not even sustainable. Not for people like us. If it's not love, it's not even sustainable. If it were, you would already, there would be nothing to complain about. Like, you know what I'm saying? You would have already hit that goal because learning happens on the way. Eventually, yeah, you learn the marketing, you learn the fun, you learn sales, okay, learn finance, okay. But at a point, you discover the skills aren't enough, that something else must carry you through. In fact, I'd rather start off with less skills and more love. That the love is what qualifies me for the activity in the first place. And so as I'm sitting here looking at this, I mean, I wrote out my whole joint. Like, let's see if there's anything else I need to tell you. Yeah, was not following love fully and everything, and so got burned out quickly doing everything I didn't love. That's that. Okay, so that's a bit. So yeah, I was not following love fully in everything, and so I got burned out quickly doing everything I didn't love. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to run the ads, trying to figure out, okay, what's the retargeting campaign need to look like? Did I set pixels right on that website? Is the triggering mechanism working? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sitting here thinking about Stripe, all the stuff that you do when you're building your first thing. I also didn't know that fulfillment takes massive energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can offer something, you can sell something. Somebody's got to fulfill that. Somebody's got to deliver on the product or whatever. And if you're delivering on live experiences that you just sold somebody into, like all of that takes energy. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like there's like just small like things that you just don't know until you do the thing or until you find a coach or somebody who can help you out. I had no self-awareness of what I truly loved offering or clear understanding of why people would pay for it. Okay, I think you get the point. I think you get the point. So after I wrote out that list, I also started writing out just another sheet of paper. I just was just on one, and I was like, "Yo, this is 10 years. What did I learn in 10 years? It'll be 10 years in October. Like, but like, what did I learn in 10 years? This is probably the most important part. Is that organization, that company, was me trying to lead with my head instead of leading with my heart. And that might sound absurd if you're anything but an artist. Like the art, the creating of something, even if it's just creating the life that you want, creating whatever. I don't know. If you're creating quiet time, I don't care what it is. My definition of artist is that is the one who follows love. You did what I'm saying. So the warrior operating at their highest level becomes an artist. The merchant operating at their highest level becomes an artist. The educator operating at their highest level becomes an artist. The teacher, you know what I'm saying? The builder operating at their highest level becomes an artist. To me, it's the same. It's the upper edge. The problem happens when we start trying to get the desire to turn our art into capital. Because art and content are different things. Building a media company is different than building art. They can be related, but they are different in the sense that you don't need to love making content in order to make content or in order to hire somebody to make content. But it's not art unless, in my definition, it's not art unless you only did it out of love. And so I didn't know that I was at a particular stage of development where I could no longer live by my head alone. I couldn't just live by ideas that made sense. I had to live by the heart, which is pure love. In other words, I had to live by the voice of God. Again, when I say God, I don't mean guy in the sky. I mean the universal fabric of existence. I was doing what I thought made sense in the direction of my dreams, not what was actually following love in the moment. Which meant what? Following the intellect first always had me trading my plans for a better one. There was always a better product that I could be selling, always a better marketing plan that I could be selling, always a better idea that I could be pursuing. And so I just jumped from idea to idea to idea to idea and never went deep on one. I burned out too easily. I overthought everything. The intellect was not a foundation from which to build a good life and a good business simultaneously. Because the intellect would always ask for the trade and would always choose my petty goals over the truth of the moment. The intellect would have me just get the money, get the cash. It wouldn't say honor love. The intellect dissolves in love. It can't go there. The intellect needs fragments, but love only understands wholeness because love is wholeness. So the intellect is not going to recommend love. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be like, oh yeah, go do that. No, no, no. I wish I'd have known. I wish I'd have known. Which means what? I built my decisions around thoughts of what I wanted rather than around love, which is what I really wanted but didn't understand. Even the decision to go into investing. So after that company didn't work, you know what I'm saying? We started buying real estate. Then I was like, okay, we're kind of good at this. Like we can kind of, I'm starting to see my first profits in real estate. Okay, cool. Let's flip that into some, you know what I'm saying? Some technologies that we can get more alpha on. And so that ended up being the thing that got me to retire. But the decision to split into investing, even that was an intellectual decision. Oh, don't get me wrong. I like it. And it feels good to be successful in something, especially after all them years of failing. But as I was sitting here this week writing this out, the decision to even get into investing was an intellectual one that appealed to my fears. Said, if you can invest now and make this make sense, use your research, use your intellect, use everything that you've been developing in order to come up with the one idea that you can put cash behind and have it grow 10x, 100x. Oh yeah, then that you can get your freedom. Remember the freedom that I thought money gave? You can get that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So guess what? I was like, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Especially you start seeing the cash coming through. It's like, oh, yes, please. I remember that in that excitement, but I didn't I didn't turn the attention inward to find out what is the nature of this excitement. Is it exciting because it is loving, or is it exciting because it is a way out of fear, a temporary solution? You understand? Of course, when you're getting paid, you ain't thinking about temporary solutions. You thinking it's forever. You know what I'm saying? And dude, I didn't understand the nature of impermanence. And so, if there is a difference, I guess this is the part that I want to say, and I'm taking a long time tonight to get to the crux of the crux of the crux. But hey, look, if This is the point. If there is a difference between the intellect's decisions and love's decisions, if there's a difference between the intellect and love, it is that the intellect's decisions are based on the fear of probabilistic outcomes. But love's decisions are made for their own sake. Let me say it again. If there is a difference between the intellect and love, it is this: that the intellect's decisions are all too easily made and based upon the fear of probabilistic outcomes. What I mean by probabilistic outcomes or probabilistic consequences is, if I don't start this business, I'll probably end up in a job I hate. If I don't do well in this business, I'll probably end up broke and in a job I hate. If I don't find a way for money to set me free, I'll probably be enslaved forever. You dig what I'm saying? It's a probabilistic, it's the outcome that is probably that I'm afraid of. And so I start devising all kinds of plans and workarounds and follow throughs and backups and everything else that I can do in order to ensure that I can find that solution that's going to get me away from the thing that I fear. Notice that that is a very different deal than saying I'm going to follow the voice of God no matter what. Oh, I'm good for pacing back and forth. I'm good for the, oh, it's going to work. So, I'm good for the, I've been good for that. But at this stage, by the time I was out talking with Marquise, I had learned that, wait a minute, the fear of probabilistic outcomes or probabilistic consequences is keeping me from honoring the divine frequency that is here right now and already knows what I need to do, already has supplied me with the energy for doing it, already understands who I need to be working with. If when I think about it, I smile because I feel the love actually begin to radiate. It's like, oh, that's my answer. What I'm suggesting for you is that human beings are undergoing a change and evolution that is moving from the intellect, which can be manipulated, which is only subject to the information that's in its environment, which means that if you wanted to control the people, you would just flood the zone with misinformation and have these people operating and acting in ways that do not align with true reality. Every tyrannical government on earth has mastered this. This is why media is the first thing that you take over when you're trying to take over a country. It's the first thing. Flood the zone. You say media, I say media, but like religion also fits in that. Flood the zone. Flood it. Make sure their definition of God is the one that we want to give them. Flood the zone. You know what I'm saying? That's warfare. But it's also understanding what the human intellect even is and what it is not. You dig what I'm saying? So with the intellect, you may or may not win. But with love, you always win immediately because there is no other goal beyond love itself. Like love is its own sake. Love is done for its own sake. No one's trying to love in order to get money. People actually, it's the other way around. People want to get the money so that they can be honored and cherished by the people around them. So that it's almost like a proxy for, it's like a faux route to try and get to the love. You dig what I'm saying? They're trying to get the money so they can get that feeling of admiration, which they misconstrue as love from others. You understand? And so that means that making the love decision gives you what you wanted most anyway, right now. Keep in mind, we do not make decisions because we want love. We start with love and we make our decisions accordingly. We make our decisions from the love that we started from. You feel me? So That's why tonight we had Marquise start with that love component, having he was holding that ball of white light. He filled it with love and then he absorbed it into his own heart. And I said, listen, every question that I ask you tonight, make sure you answer from that love position. You must answer from that love position. I will not accept any other answer. If it's coming from the head, that's cool. Off to the side. What's the light of love saying? This simple exercise, you started seeing his thinking shift in moments. He went from talking about digital platforms to something else. He's talking about financial independence, which tells us what? That his destiny is likely he's either an artist that doesn't know it yet, or he's a merchant, somebody whose destiny is to create that financial independence and help other people and employ the builders and that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a sacred role when it is honored well. And so he could have missed that and spent his time trying to go into a business that he didn't really he admired that somebody else was doing it, but it wasn't really for him. And missed the fact that the whole point of a real rich company is not just the profit that you're getting financially, but also the people that you're sharing it with, where you get to work, how you get to work, the way you get to work. You know what I'm saying? All of it has to be oriented around love. You do this and you have a business that is singing and that is also an example to others. That's why when we follow love, we get what we get is everything. Because we started with everything. Love is the all in all. So we started with everything. And so what we get is everything. You understand? That's why love is its own purpose, its own point, its own reward. You hear me say often that love must be the payment and the price. Love is what I pay in order to do my destiny, and love is also what I get paid back in as I execute in my destiny. You understand? Making decisions from love means you are living well. I cannot say that no matter how good the non-love based plan is, I cannot say what happens if you stray. I can only say that no matter how good the non-based love plan is, it's a distraction from the great way. In other words, if you are making decisions and they just seem like great decisions, but they're not coming from a real space. They're not coming from anything that is actually true for you. They're not coming from a place that takes into account your full history, all of you. It just sounds good at the time. Oh, that's a distraction. And the more the ecosystem of your life is polluted with unnecessary distractions, the more it becomes difficult to return to yourself, to return to love. And then it starts getting easy to ignore love. And then it starts getting to say that nobody should be listening to love. That's not the fastest way to money. That's not how I did it. What? Look, and it's also the thing that makes it so difficult to even return to love because doing so could mean giving up all the things that you thought you wanted in the first place. Oh, start making your decisions apart from love, and returning to love becomes an issue because it could mean giving up all the things that you thought you wanted in the first place. Man, I was retired, champ. Retired. But then I started getting this sequence, this frequency that says, listen, follow love, follow love, follow love. Lost everything. Lost everything. Follow love, follow love, follow love, follow love, follow love. Got everything back. I mean, it is that insane. I lost everything. Got it back. or rather, I say got it back. No, no, no. That's inappropriate. I should say more was returned. More was given. Follow love, follow love, follow love. I was just saying to Felicity today that one of the most dangerous things, one of the most brilliant things a person can do is learn how to live on purpose, in love, with no money. Do it for zero. Because if you can figure that out, it's not too much more the world is going to be able to throw up in your way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, even if they throw you in prison, there's love in there too. You know what I'm saying? Like love is everywhere. So it's like, oh, even if they kill you, it's like, oh, I just go back to love. I just go back to the fundamental fabric. I'm cool. When I start seeing this, I'm like, okay, this is love is pretty much this is pretty much it. This is all there is. Because the more the ecosystem of your life is polluted with unnecessary distractions, the more difficult it is to return to love. And the more difficult it is to return to love means you never face the challenge of giving up all the things that you thought you wanted. I see that once I decided to live from the heart led position, there was no going back. There was no, oh, I'm gonna live from the heart. I'm gonna live as an artist. I'm gonna live as the, when I say live as an artist, I just mean it's not about creating stuff. It's not about creating YouTube videos or anything like. It's about doing what I love, when I love, where I love, with who I love, for the reasons that I love, how I love. Love Hexagon. That's being a creator. No matter where you fall, whether you're a warrior, whether you're an artist, I'm talking about the transcendent artist. Once I decided to live from that place, there's no going back. And there's no reason to oscillate between two positions. There's no reason for me to try and jump back and forth. Oh, sure, I got to worry about the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's over. It's over. Which means that investing for me and finance for me, it only makes sense when it can be done for the love of the game. It has to be purely for the love of the game. If it's, oh, I need this in order to set up this, in order to set up that, so my kids can have this, and then they can have, if it's all that, that's coming from an intellectual position. And the problem with the intellectual position is that it is always operating off of variables that it only has at the moment. Cannot account for variables that can occur tomorrow or the next day, which means that it's always operating within limitation, within a small purview. But in the ancient world, they talked about faith, this idea of trusting that which exists beyond the senses. And I think that when we talk about faith applied to love, it becomes brilliant. God and love are the same thing. Faith applied to God, it becomes brilliant. Because now at that point, you're accounting for variables that have not yet arrived. And you're taking in the full context of who you are as you're doing any activity. And so that love thing, it is the full apparatus. It is the full and total kit, the full and total experience. And the beautiful part is that you can feel it. So you know when it's love and when it's not. You know. And again, love is different than want. It's not, I'm about to do what I really want. No, 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 no. If I was doing that, I would be in a club in Atlanta right now with chicken wings and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's not about want. It's about love. Had somebody told me that, champ. Boy, had somebody told me that around that good old 27, it would have changed everything, dude. At least, maybe it wouldn't have, but if I would have taken it to heart and understood just how powerful this force is, oh my goodness, and had the discipline. The other piece is having the discipline to make sure that nothing else gets done except the love thing. Because it's all too easy to be like, oh shoot, let me go ahead and check on this real quick, and let me, you know what I'm saying? And if you got one of those intellects that can justify anything, like be like, okay, well let me just do this so I can train the team later. That way I don't have to do it. So that, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I still go through certain cycles of that. But again, the offering tonight, as we head into our conscious transformation laboratory, is to say, what happens if love becomes our only desire? Imagine if somebody came to me, 27 years old, we had just bought our first property. You know what I'm saying? And I would be up in the bedroom building. You know what I'm saying? The idea was, okay, I'm in grad school. I bought a property. I'm gonna live in the joint, and then I'm gonna rent it out, and then I'm gonna start scaling my real estate as I'm building this media company inside the joint. It was a beautiful townhome. You know, me and Felicity up in there, and you know, it's 2016, and I'm up writing, and I'm trying to put research together that I want to wow people and all this. If somebody came in there and been like, listen, hey, listen, just hear me out. What would happen if love was your only desire? I don't know how I would have taken that. By that time, I would have been meditating probably 6 years, 7 years, 6 years. So I would have understood. There would have been something that resonated with me. But then, if somebody would have been able to do what we are about to do, which is take it into a conscious transformation laboratory to actually draw upon a core experience, to create a core experience that I can return to, something I can actually feel, not just a question, but a feeling. What happens? That's our research question for the night. What happens if love becomes your only desire? Let me say it again. What happens when love becomes your only desire? As we enter into the conscious transformation laboratory tonight, we're working directly with this question. We want to find out what exactly happens. How do we see the world differently? How do we pay attention differently? How do we encounter our thoughts differently? How do we encounter ourselves differently? It's a key question. That's why, in moments, we're going to be entering into the laboratory to look for ourselves. Remember, anytime we enter into the conscious transformation laboratory, we're looking to get something that a book can't teach us, that somebody else's experiences really can't teach us. Their experiences are wonderful. We can be inspired from them. We can even learn from them, but our own experiences are the ones that shape our future behavior, shape our actions, shape what we do. That's why when we enter into the conscious transformation laboratory, we are going to discover a conscious transformation technology. You'll see these are called kits, CTT. These are called kits. The reason that I shorten those is just so that you understand that we're talking about a way to consciously transform our minds by aligning them with a higher frequency. And we're going to use certain tools or technologies in order to do this. So we call them conscious transformation technologies. We deploy those inside of the conscious transformation laboratory. You understand? All I know is this: had somebody come to me, just like we just came to Marquise tonight, and asked those questions, summarized by what would happen if love became your only desire? What would you choose then? How would you see your life then? What would your next decision be then? How would you treat that person that's closest to you right now? How would you treat that enemy that's preying on you right now? How would you do it? 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 What would you do? Oh, yes, we're going into the laboratory tonight And I just want to impress upon you how important this question is. Oh, it's just like, I mean, a part of me, I had to catch myself because I was like, okay, yeah, if I just would have known at 30, at 27, what I know at 37, I could have saved 10 years. It's like, well, who else couldn't say? Everybody can say that. But like, this is a little bit deeper than just skill sets or even character traits. This is about the very way in which we live. It's about choosing the very frequency that dictates our life and being intentional about that. And so, as we enter into the conscious transformation laboratory, okay. So hold on, I gotta catch y'all. Y'all out here talking. Y'all out here. Okay, so Twin saying, wow, he really took that seriously. Yeah, but he did. He did take that seriously. You saw it. You saw him be like, you saw Marquise take it seriously, and you saw Marquise basically say, "Yo, I hadn't thought of it this deep before." And for us, it's like simple questions, just 5 questions. What you let it do, man? How you want to let But for him, there was an opportunity. He's saying deep. He's not meaning the question is deep. He's saying how deeply he had to go in order to answer. That's how deeply we about to go when we enter the conscious transformation laboratory. Felicity saying, I love that. Yeah, Felicity, I don't think you saw that. Um, Twin saying, I would definitely love to not let the mind speak and step into the light and speak from that. I need a real breakthrough to allow myself to be free. Absolutely. Other twins saying, "Oh man, excited to see when the book comes out. Divine timely, do your thing." Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like the book, like I could literally release it right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like intellectually, I'm like, yeah, boy, get it out there. Love is just not that. It may never come out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, it really is up to love to decide what happens. You said, okay, twin said, that's powerful. Follow love and love alone. Work for peace is saying love is your self-consciousness. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. Twin saying it's time to go to the lab, kids. It's up to you now. Will you have a breakthrough you deserve? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm always like, yo, I'm the first one that's trying to get the breakthrough tonight. Every single night. I never know what that's why I can't name. Typically, if you see anything I do, I typically name the conscious transformation technologies before we use them. I call them the zero gravity technique, click X to delete. The sin love experiment. There's names for these tools, but you notice that on the Breakthrough Live, I don't have time to name them. I'm discovering them as they're happening in the moment. I'm just allowing spirit to move through and say whatever it says, and I'm getting trained as I'm doing it, which means that the insights that come out afterwards, that's why the Breakthrough Live is so powerful for me. Like I can feel myself upgrading just by doing this show. You feel me? So I've never seen nothing like this. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I keep coming back to the chair every Sunday. You feel me? So let's go ahead and hit into the lab. Folks, if you are seated at this time, I'm asking that you find a place that is comfortable. Find a place for you where it's quiet, where you can have your moment without interruption. If you are seated, you are seated with your feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap, and imagine an invisible string coming from the top of the ceiling and attaching into the crown of your head. This invisible string is simply there to hold your entire body up. Imagine that this invisible string is carrying your entire body, holding your entire body all by itself. And you are dangling from this invisible string attached to the crown of your head, even as you are seated. This visualization simply helps to keep your spine straight. With your spine straight, your breath can flow more regularly, your blood can flow more regularly, and your energy can flow more regularly. If you are standing with your feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly turned inward, and a slight bend in the legs, hips tucked under, and your spine is straight. You can still imagine that invisible string coming from the top of the ceiling, attaching into the crown of your head, and holding your entire body up. If you are laying down flat on your back with your chin slightly tucked upward. The back simply needs to be straight, as this will help with concentration. At this time, we enter into the conscious transformation laboratory. Take one deep breath in with me. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. At this time, you may close your eyes. Place your attention on your hands. Move your hands up to the center of your chest as if you are holding a small beach ball right in front of your heart. Place your attention into the space between your palms and fill this space with pure white light. Imagine that from your heart, a radiant beam of white light beams forward out of your chest and fills up the space in between your hands until the space in between your hands is occupied by a ball of white light. Feel this ball of white light pulsating in between your hands. And imagine that this white light is love itself. Imagine that this pure, radiant white light formed as a ball in between your hands is love itself. Feel the warmth of this radiant white ball of love light as it blesses your palms, your wrists. Feel its warmth kissing your forearms, stretching into your fingertips. And feel that this white light is love itself. This white light is eternal. It is always available to you. And in a moment, as you feel this radiating, warm, white light of love in between your hands, I want you to imagine that this white light pours back into your chest, back into your heart, and makes your heart shine with the radiant white light of love. At this time, feel the white light of love absorb back into your chest, into your heart, and feel the warmth of the white light of love radiating directly inside of your heart. Now, with your attention fully resting on your heart, you may return your hands to their resting position, but keep your attention on the white, warm, radiating light of love in your heart. Rest in this love feeling. Let the light of love strengthen in your heart. Feel so much love you can barely stand it. Allow this warmth to shine so brightly from your heart that you can feel this warmth in every part of your body. Simply allow the love to move to every part of you. This white, radiant light of love shines so brightly in your heart, and yet its light touches all of you at the same time. Notice that the love of God is here. Notice that the love of all is here. See if you can tune into this love until you can perceive nothing else. Imagine that all of your dreams, all of your hopes, were only made in order to arrive at this love that you feel now. See if you can allow even more love to burst forth from your heart and ripple forward. In this moment, allow this love you feel to be your only desire. This love cannot be taken away. Simply allow this love to exist and let all desire drop away now. let all desire drop away. Notice that even the desire for love is not necessary. That's because the love that you could desire is already here. And you are feeling it, abiding in it now. When thoughts appear to try and tell you that you are not doing it right, allow love to enter the thought itself. See the radiant white light of love enter into your head and bless each thought, no matter what the thought is about. Having blessed the thought with the white light of love, simply return to this radiant white light of love inside your heart. What does it feel like now that you have everything? What does it feel like now that you have everything you ever truly wanted now? In this moment, the purpose of all your dreams has been fulfilled. The purpose of all of your activities has been fulfilled. There is nothing to want. Simply abide in this radiant love. This pulsing, white, radiant light of love in your heart. It is as if nothing that has happened or could ever happen in the future matters more than this love. You do not need to become more. In this moment, you do not need to have more. In this moment, you do not need to want more. Because in love, you have everything. Because in love, you have everything. Abide in this love. There are no desires, just love. There are no desires, just love. There are no desires, just love. Abide in this love. Love is always enough. Thoughts may come to protest. Simply let the thoughts know that love is always enough, even that love is only enough. Stay connected with this love as you take one inhale in with me. Inhale. exhale, inhale, exhale. Coming back to center. When you're ready, you may open your eyes. Folks, I'm interested in understanding what your experience was with that session. For me, I felt the mind looking to play a few tricks when we got the instruction to let love be the only desire. I started feeling like, okay, well, what if love, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if it goes away? I kept feeling these little bits of protest, these thoughts that came saying, wait, love is not going to be enough. Love is not. And it's like, wait, no, love was only enough. I started seeing, again, that core distinction between the mind and that God body, between the mind, between the intellect and love. You understand? But I started feeling the desires drop away. Even the desire to make sure the session was good and all that stuff kind of started receding into the background. Thoughts of protest came that said, hey, look, what are we doing here? And then the instruction came to say to those thoughts, love is enough. In fact, love is the only thing that is enough. So I started rippling in this space of equilibrium, in this space of equanimity, in this space of wholeness. And not to say that it was such a new and different experience, but just in the sense of it's just that there's a wholeness to it, a not needingness to it. Compared to love, a want is superficial. That's what I saw. Is I saw that compared to this radiating love, like a want is superficial. So it's like a mechanism for bringing balance back to the inner ecosystem. Regardless of whatever else is happening on the outside, that balance back to the inner ecosystem. I started sensing that for most people, that should be that's probably going to be a challenging experiment to do for most humans. And yet to come back to it until it gets easier and easier and easier in order to feel that white light of love and actually have it be the only perception. It drowns out the other desires. Okay, we're ready to hit the breakthrough board. Because what are we discovering tonight? I always grab the breakthrough board, and tonight we're going to be working from the principle, the pattern, the path. Remember, our question tonight was, what happens if you let love be your only desire? What happens when love is the only desire? For me, I started feeling like balance. I started feeling equanimity. I started feeling that sense of wholeness. I started sensing that I could feel all of the minor perturbances and protest of the mind coming in to say, oh, wait, 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 wait. Perhaps you need to see this another way. Perhaps you need to have desire in order to do anything good. You need to, what I'm saying? I can hear all of these protests. I can hear, sense all of this protest. And yet coming back to that sense of that white, radiant light of love beaming in the heart and shooting its warmth, letting that light touch every part of the inner body. It's like the protests of the mind are much like a child's protest about whether or not the child wants to go to bed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even hearing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's not taking up any residence beyond its initial surfacing. If I also feel like I can be a little bit more patient. Sometimes on the breakthrough live, I'm like, oh, man, I gotta hurry up and get to the value. I gotta hurry up and get to like tonight. I'm feeling like I can. I just feel like I can be a little bit more patient. Because even the subtle desire to be engaging and entertaining is kind of like there's a balance. This is sacred. If I can make love my only desire, I find that equanimity returns immediately. And perhaps that's where our principle lies tonight. I like to teach from principle because if I can understand the principle behind a phenomenon, then I can find and chart my own path forward, regardless of whatever else I know. And so I like to reason from principles. And so as we come out of the lab tonight, the Conscious Transformation Laboratory, I'm thinking about the principle of the evening. Our question tonight was, what happens when you allow love to be your only desire? What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is this. All right, so let's pop it like this. When I'm saying love, again, I'm talking about a oneness. I'm talking about a universal light that can go anywhere. Indeed, it is everywhere. Tonight we were just dealing with the feeling aspect of love. We were just dealing with the warmth, with the just let's just access one feeling dimension. That's what came out in our lab experiment. And what I'm noticing for me personally is that the when the present experience of love is the only desire, oh my bad. When the present experience of love is the only desire, desire cannibalizes itself. It evaporates. And what happens is that this equanimity returns. This sense of balance, this sense of wholeness, this sense of tranquility, it returns. You'll notice that in any perturbance, anytime you're disturbed or anytime you're lost, there's typically some desire at the base of that disturbance. I say typically, there's always some desire at the base of that disturbance. Some way of saying, okay, I want reality to be one way, but it's going a different way. And so I'm disturbed by that. I feel friction by that. What I'm saying tonight is that there is a love that is always present. It can't be a love that itself becomes a future desire that we're trying to chase. It has to be present love. When this present love, the love that you can feel right now, becomes your only desire, the desire cannibalizes itself. And what happens? The equanimity returns. That's what I felt tonight. That's what I felt tonight. Equanimity starts to come back, or rather begins to reveal itself. It begins to shine forth once again in greater luminance. This present love, when it becomes the only desire, the desire eats itself. How can I want something that I already have? So the desire cancels itself out. And what gets produced is this equanimity. This equanimity, it returns, steps forward in all its glory. Mm, that's the principle of the evening. And so as I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, that's just the core feeling. It's just the core feeling. And the faster that you can do this, the faster that you can get to a place where it's like, wait a minute. Even if my entire life was falling apart, to give myself this present love and let it be my only desire, the equanimity simply returns, that unshakable nearly equanimity. As I say nearly, if there's no desire, then and you're attuned specifically, if I'm attuned specifically to this love frequency, the equanimity becomes unshakable in the sense that when there's no desire, there's no place to prick me. When there's no desire, there's nothing that can be taken away that I'm concerned about. When there's no desire, there's no point of failure within my psycho-spiritual matrix. In order to crave something, in order to experience loss, I have to first have something that I don't desire to lose, or have something that I desire to gain. But if the desire itself gets eviscerated because I'm giving myself the present love, which is ultimately the point of all desire, mm, equanimous man is what you become. The equanimous hominid, a new type of organism, just one that's making different kinds of choices. Now, all of a sudden, when I say, okay, what do you love to do? It only makes sense it's the only question worth considering. Just as a matter of practicality. What you love to do? Yeah, I mean, the love is all I care about. So, however it wants to express itself, let it do its thing. What I'm also saying, of course, is that this love is also the voice of God, but that's a whole conversation for another day. So, the question that I have Now is okay, we understand that our principle is that this present love for me erases when it becomes the only desire, it cannibalizes desire, it collapses desire. Equanimity returns as a result of that. The question I'm having now is what's the pattern? The pattern, of course, is why we get into trouble in the first place. When I can recognize a pattern, I can step around that pattern. I can go overcome that pattern. I can go around that pattern. I can dig under that pattern. I can move through that pattern. I can break that pattern. Once I understand and can engage in pattern recognition, I can recognize the pattern. Now I can do something about it. So the question tonight is what is the pattern that keeps us trapped in the first place? Why do we get into this jam in the first place? Well, hmm, okay, here's what I'm getting. All right, here we go. So the pattern is this. Got this written right. Desire presents all your points of failure. That what we are calling desire presents all your points of failure. Now, when I'm saying desire, there's nothing wrong with desiring something. We're talking really about the attachment to desire. We're talking really about the attachment to desire. But here's the thing, it's okay to desire something. Like, that's fine. That's a part of being in the human experience. It's another thing to believe that your life is somehow less than if you don't somehow fulfill some desire. Right? So we're talking about being too attached to a desire. But what I notice is this is that if I cannot go without the desire, then there's an attachment. If I cannot go without the desire, then there's an attachment. Does that mean that I need to give up all my desires? No, it just means that at any given point in time, love must be enough. I must have and retain the ability to go without whatever the so-called desire is, whatever, maybe it's the money, maybe it's the dream business, maybe it's the whatever it is. If I cannot drop it, if someone said, hey, look, this thing is going away, and I couldn't still find peace, self-love, if I still couldn't be encouraged by the fact that I have everything that I ever wanted anyway, then that means that I'm attached to the desire. You dig what I'm saying? It's got me snagged somewhere. It is presenting a point of failure in my psycho-spiritual matrix, which is to say that anytime I'm experiencing massive loss, or anytime somebody else has convinced me to go work on projects and endeavors that are out of alignment with love, it is because there is some desire, some sense of I need this external object to fulfill me that I'm chasing. There's some attachment, even if it's so subtle, so subconscious that I don't recognize it. Starting that business 10 years ago, the subtle desire was that if I can just get to the money, then I can get to the freedom. But I never made the next step. I never said, wait, why do you want the freedom? I would have said, well, man, everybody just wants to be free. It's like, no, 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 no. You wouldn't want to just be free and then waste your time. You want to be free so that you can do what? What you love. When? When you love. Where? Where you love. Why? For reasons that you love. With who? with who you love. You know what I'm saying? How I would love. You know what I'm saying? You want to be free because of the love component. I never made that intellectual. It was. I never saw that part. I didn't see that other side of it. I stopped at freedom. Money will get me freedom, and then I'll stop there. No, money will get you freedom. You want the freedom because you want the love. The desire for the money, the desire, which was a deeper desire for, there was a deeper desire for freedom. I started getting attached to not just the freedom, but the money, and I started getting attached to the path, which at that time was a business I was ill prepared to run. And so when I lost it, it felt like, oh, felt like it felt like something important had been lost. It took some time to really let that go and to understand the point of failure that I had introduced when I forgot that love was everything that I wanted. Anyway, the principle tonight was that when present love becomes the only desire, desire cannibalizes itself and equanimity returns. The pattern tonight is that the reason we get into trouble in the first place is that our attachment to our desires, Mhm. Our attachment to our desires presents all our points of failure in our psycho-spiritual matrix inside of our minds. Were you to uproot the desire, to dissolve the desire and return back to this love piece, you've already won. There is no point of failure. The equanimity is you're too entrenched. You're too back based, abiding in God. You understand? Not only that, but you can also see it's like abiding in love. You get to see what love wants more of. Like what is love gravitating to? I say love wants more of, but love just expresses itself. It doesn't really want. It doesn't want. It just expresses what it already is. And so it can choose a vehicle for that. It can choose a painting, it can choose a canvas, it can choose a moment in a conversation, it can choose an episode, it can choose a video, it can choose quiet, it can choose whatever in order to express itself. Ours is to get out the way so that it can. Get our desires, get our attachments, get our baggage and our junk out the way so that this love can express itself. Now we ask, what's the path forward? We know the principle that when I give myself this present love, desire cannibalizes itself. Equanimity steps forward. We know the pattern. The reason we get into trouble in the first place is because desire, our attachment to desire, presents all our points of failure inside our psycho-spiritual matrix, which is to say that every place where we can be hurt, there is some desire at the base, some desire to be safe, some desire to be loved, some desire to have status. There's some desire at the base of our issues. Were we to cannibalize that desire by returning ourselves back to love, then we would eliminate the points of failure because we would have already won, you understand? So now we're asking, what's the path forward? What do we do now in light of this understanding? What do we do now in light of this understanding? Mm. It's almost like we have to. Let me try this. This is what I'm getting. Oh, okay, just ran out of mark. We got backups. Our path forward is this: that attached desire is our signal to return. In order to understand the path forward, that desire becomes our signal to return. We have to understand that the thought, the you could say the brain or the mind is constantly, those are different things by the way, but we'll say that the mind is constantly taking inventory of what is necessary, what's required in a certain moment. Are you hungry? Do you need water? Does the baby need fed? Does, is there a fire in the business that you need to put out? You dig what I'm saying? There's an inventory. We could say an inventory of needs and the desire to solve for those needs is perfectly fine until it becomes attached desire. Until we start saying, okay, if I don't solve for this, I'll be less. I'll be nothing. That's when we're looking for a desire to actually be something more than, we're looking for an external event to be something more than it can be. We're looking for a probabilistic outcome to be something more than it ever can be. I call that attached desire. As our minds are making these judgments or these evaluations rather throughout the day, if we can tune in just to the flow of clinging sensations, when we have that one idea that feels like it carries such urgency to it, and we use that feeling of urgency as a signal to return, we use that urgency as a signal to return to present love. We can just use that attached desire, the urgency. That's how you'll feel it. You'll feel it as an urgency. Well, this has to get done like this. It has to get done right now. It has to get, when it starts to feel like that urgency, use that as your signal to return to present love. Because doing so allows us to reestablish that equanimity. And from that balance place, now we can make decisions that are in alignment with the love that we actually want. What I find in establishing in this equanimity is that some of the things that I thought were urgent, they may have been urgent, but they weren't important. They can go away anyway. And the things that truly need to get handled in the moment. There's no time to be sitting here thinking about stressing out. So it's like if I can just use this urgency as a signal to return to present love, I will be abiding in reality more clearly because I'll be established in a mind that can observe without fear. And that's our path forward tonight. Mm. Mm. I like that. Even now, I can just feel that equity. I can feel that space. It's almost like the white light of love is one thing. It's just like I got the white light of love has almost given way to now this translucent clarity that I can just feel deep in my own chest. Pure balance. And y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Twin saying, yes, sir, it's raining beautifully here, and the words you said go so well with this setting. Can I say our thoughts, our pattern, repetition, our pattern? Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Speaking of rain, speaking of rain, somebody's sewer had just flooded, you know what I'm saying? And so they done came over to kick it with us tonight. Hold on, let me grab it. Y'all know what time it is. He said the sewer flooded. You know what I'm saying? It was raining out by Twin and them. They on the East Coast. But guess what? Guess what? He came through anyway. It's Breakthrough Turtle. Breakthrough Turtle comes by every single week on Divine Turtle Time. Breakthrough Turtle carries a special message for us that's going to tie directly into our revelation for this week. And Breakthrough Turtle is saying, though it may be cold and wet outside, on the inside, there's just this warmth. What you talking about, Breakthrough Turtle? Let me hear what you talking about. Okay, so we break him open in order to get that breakthrough. Uh, okay, all right, good looking, Breakthrough Turtle. You know what I'm saying? You can stay the night over here if you want to. Okay, so here they got the turtles in the chat. They got the turtles in the chat. Twin saying, my man B, what you got for us? All right, all right, all right. Here you go, here you go. Okay, okay, here it looks like it's handwritten. Right. We break the turtle right here. Break the turtle saying, I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy. Rabindranath Tagore. Break the turtle. What the shell is this? He says, I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy. Break the turtle. What am I supposed to do with this? Our conversation tonight is about what happens when love becomes your only desire. What are you saying here? I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy. Break the turtle. Are you saying that so many of us, we go to sleep, we dreaming of a life that is pure bliss, that we get everything that we want, only to wake up and see that no, life actually takes work. No, we are actually here to be in service to one another. Then are you saying that after sleeping, after waking, when we act, we see that our work was the very joy that we went to sleep dreaming about in the first place? In order for this to be true, Breakthrough Turtle, and tying to what we're talking about tonight, that work would already need to be love. It would have to be that love was the service. If love was the service, and we went to sleep dreaming that we could live a life of love, we abide in love until love causes us to act. The very act becomes the service that blesses other people and blesses us and ultimately leads us to a life that we love, the very one that we went to sleep dreaming about. Then we can understand that if love is our only desire, then we get everything anyway. Our work becomes the service because love becomes the payment and the price. Love becomes what we give to other people when we serve them in a real way. And it also becomes the payment. It also becomes that thing that we get to wake up clicking our feet, clicking our heels, so to speak, because we get to live a life that we only dreamed of, operating 100% in love. Is this a message for me? In grad school, I dreamed about being able to start a business so that I could live how I wanted to. And when I saw that dream at its highest peak and its highest vividness, yes, I was serving people, but I was also doing everything that I was excited to do. It was the closest approximation to a life of love that I could think at that time. The dream of that business and the work of that business were two totally different things. The work felt like, oh man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, yeah, you serving, but you also doing a whole bunch of things just to get out in front of people. You understand? But years later, 10 years now, looking back, I see that when I operate from love in the first place, I end up producing the very service that I had dreamed of giving to people, but I also end up receiving the very life that I had dreamed of getting from people. and the service was joy. Thank you, Turtle. You always find a way. You always find a way. Hmm. What a mind race. Reminds me of the hair. Absolutely. He's saying it is done, and it is done. Mm. Folks, maybe that's why. If fear is our only enemy, then we bring heaven to earth when we transform our minds. I'm Dr. Shawn, and we were not sent to impress our people. We were sent to transform our people into a light for the world. For God's universe opens to all who believe in breakthrough.